Today we're going to talk about the symptoms of RAD and how a child behaves. That's what our video is about today. And just to start with, the DSM-5 recently changed they divided RAD into kind of like two different categories. One is reactive attachment disorder, which is RAD, R-A-D for short, and they call the other attachment disorder disinhibited social engagement disorder, DSED. Living with a child that has attachment issues and suffers, from early childhood trauma, it can just be exhausting, traumatizing for the family, hurtful. It's just exasperating. And I don't think many people really realize that. So I'm trying to build as much awareness with it as I can. What parents experience is triangulation, manipulation, and a host of other problems. The family is living in crisis mode. Mom is extremely exhausted daily. The child constantly is seeking negative attention, creating havoc at school and at home. Sometimes they can be fantastic. They can be like little angels at school and just save all of it up at home, for the mom or the primary caretaker. It's really important to understand that mom is, or the primary caretaker is the main target of the abuse. She takes the brunt of it from the child. The child's acting out is because of the first mom and what they experienced with the first mom, and what the child is doing, and doesn't really even realize it. But they're really trying to pay this mom back for what the first mom did and testing this new mom. There's a lot of inner rage that a child with reactive attachment disorder has. Children with RAD, they don't trust, and that's just due to all the things that they experienced early on. This can be due to multiple placements, abuse, neglect, or abandonment issues. They say that neglect is the worst thing anyone can experience. It's worse than child abuse or abandonment, because when you're neglected, nothing's even happening, to you. So children that are neglected tend to be most extremely unhealthy, the unhealthiest. Children will sabotage the mom's attempts to form a bond. They're afraid to experience good things. They feel worthless. If the new mom knew the things that they have done in their past, they're very afraid that she's going to get rid of them. They think if the old mom wouldn't keep them, how could any mom love them? If your own mother wouldn't take care of you, then why would anybody else? From the child's perspective, when the birth mom abandoned or neglected, or abused them, it typically leaves the child they have feelings of worthlessness and shame, which is really sad. But most of all the children that I've met feel a lot of shame inside, like it's something that they've done to make this happen. Majority of children with RAD are adopted. However, many children have been diagnosed with RAD that occurs with their biological mom. And there are many reasons that this can happen too. When mom is not emotionally or physically present, okay? If a child's been hospitalized during the first 3 years of life, and they're not making that connection because, they're in the hospital and that's just not forming, and there's many people taking care of them during the day. We'll go into more detail as to why a child living with a biological mom may have been diagnosed with RAD. However, this video here is discussing what RAD looks like and its symptoms, but I definitely go into more depth about that, because there are many children that have RAD and live with their biological parents. So what does RAD look like? It's a child with a lot of rage, meltdowns and tantrums, destruction of property. They're harmful to animals and people. They're superficially charming. They have no stranger danger. They'll go off with anyone. They are like, for instance, they might just be sitting in anybody's lap. They'll just, Any mom will do, type of thing. Okay. On their terms, they'll hug people and that type of thing. And people, they kind of look like that they're, wow, this kid loves love, but it like again, it's all on their terms. Because when it comes to mom, on mom's terms, they don't like that. Okay. People think they're cute and they're sweet and they're charming, but in reality, they're covering up, a lot of mad feelings. And they know how to work people because they've had to. When you're in survival mode, you need to know how to work people just to survive. So there's the old way, before the DSM changed it. There was, there was what you call ambivalent attachment and passive aggressive attachment. So you may hear, some of that. Again, the DSM recently just changed that, and so people may not know it as that now. But passive aggressive is a child that doesn't blow up. Okay, they simply ignore. They pretend that they don't hear you. Some children act out and get angry, but these children, instead of acting out and get angry, they kind of get angry, and on the inside, not on the outside. They feel enjoyment when mom is angry or frustrated. And once mom yells, they feel like they've won. Okay? So here are some symptoms of reactive attachment disorder. They're superficially engaging and charming, indiscriminately affectionate with strangers. They're destructive to material, self, and things. They have a lack of cause and effect thinking. They steal. They take no responsibility for their actions, so they do a lot of blame shifting. It's always someone else's fault. Crazy lying about the obvious. They'll be lying to you about something that right in front of your face that is not true, or uh, it's completely obvious that they're doing it and they know it. They have trouble with peer relationships. They have a lack of conscience, cruelty to animals, not affectionate on the parents' terms, controlling, clingy. So it'll feel weird when they're hugging you. It feels like a controlling kind of hug. No, it just, it's kind of yucky feeling. They have a lack of awareness of another person's space, so they're kind of like in your bubble all the time. They just don't know boundaries in that way. They state the obvious. They have a lack of self-control, and they also have impulse control problems. They have learning lags, ADHD or ADD. They have unusual eating patterns where it can be they're very controlling. They don't want to eat, or they'll be hoarding food. They can be obsessed with fire, blood, and gore. They're fake and phony, not real, have like a mask on. Excessive chatter and nonsense questions. They can make a lot of false allegations. Be careful of that. Of abuse. And they can make false allegations of sexual abuse as well. They avoid eye contact on the parents' terms, inappropriately sexually acting out. Although these are common symptoms of RAD, most children do not display every symptom. So there's definite reasons as to why and how these things play out and look. And we'll get with those with another video. But something to think about, to actually ask yourself, and you'll see this in your handout, all the different symptoms, to see how many of these symptoms your children, might have, and see where they fall in the spectrum of reactive attachment disorder. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to give me a call, and I look forward to seeing you at our next video.